club time.
We have another book to discuss.
Yes, we do.
And it's been a couple weeks since we read this book. It has some tough names, so we're going to do our best. But the book is...
In Order to Live by Yeonmi Park. Yes.
It's a memoir, and Yeonmi is North Korean.
Mm-hmm.
And she was born and raised in North Korea, and this is the story of her childhood to when she leaves the country and eventually finds her own path to freedom.
Yeah.
And the perils along the way, which makes it quite the story.
Yes.
So let's start off with what did you like about this book?
So it's really hard to, and this goes into like rating it, it's really hard to rate or like a story that is hard and difficult and full of trials that you just can't even relate to or fathom, that are just so far outside of your own realm of understanding. And so I can't say that I liked any particular part of it. But I guess overall, when I read stories like this, it gives me gratitude for where I've lived, for America, the country that, we claim citizenship of, and the joys that we enjoy every day. So that is what I liked about it, was that it gave me that gratitude.
Oh, I have no problem saying I liked a book that has bad things in it. Because, it's the book. The book was, it felt like a true telling.
Yeah.
It kept up the pace pretty good. Some of these other sort of nonfiction books, they can go off on tangents. I'm thinking of like The Feather Thief.
Yes.
That was a good book. But
so
man,
good.
Every other chapter, he took a long, deep dive into some new industry that really didn't have that much to do with the story. So that was about more than half, or...
It was a lot.
It was twice the size it needed to be. This didn't do that, really. There was a few little backstory tangents to explain parts, but pretty much it stayed centered on her experience and what happened to her and her journey. There were some horrific things. This book is not for the faint of heart.
It's not a feel-good read.
No, if difficult personal situations and violence bother you, this may not be the story for you. I think the thing that it's actually not as violent as some of the fantasies we've read.
No.
But it feels more violent because it actually happened. It's real.
Yeah.
And so, but I think well written and a true telling. So it's a very broad like for me. But yeah, I appreciated that and thought it was a good book. That's what I liked about it.
I agree. She did a really great job. When she finishes the book, she's 21. And she talked about, I thought it was kind of silly for me to write a memoir at only 21. But when you take into account her escaping North Korea at 13 and then finally making it to South Korea when she's 15, and those 2 years, if you just took in those 2 years of her in China, oh man, there's so much to unpack just in those 2 years. She has this compelling story, and everybody should read it. I thought it was great. Yeah.
Everybody should read it?
Yes.
I think 13 and older should read it.
Well,
this is a PG-13.
This is a PG-13 read. You should be...
If we're being kind.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, it hits harder because it was real. If this were fictional, that would be different depending on the setting and how that was portrayed. But given that this was... a real event, and these things really happened, man, that hits harder, and just be aware of that. High
school and above.
Yeah.
That's who should read this.
I mean, it's important that lots of people read it because I think we need that view of both current struggles in the world and that view of humanity. Yep. I mean, as humans, we can do some awful things to each other.
Yeah.
And remembering that, I think, gives you a sense of humility or caution.
We gain perspective on our own government and our own systems of operation by reading truly oppressed people. And, we can get in our bubble and we can be like, oh, I have trauma because you said something or whatever. But when you actually read about people whose lives are truly oppressed, and the brainwashing that happens from their government officials and the process of them trying to step out of that and to see the joys of freedom that can come from other things, it's why you read those books. It's why you read these stories.
Dislikes. Anything you want to call out on? Anything you didn't appreciate or didn't like in this book?
I wish that there were different choices made, but I can't change that. Those were the choices that were made in her life and in her parents' lives and her family as a whole. And so I can't really say, oh, I didn't like this part because of these choices. Those are the choices that they made.
I agree. It's really hard to come up with both likes and dislikes, like you said earlier, on something that's a nonfiction work, a memoir.
Yeah.
From a writing standpoint, I also don't have a lot that I think they could have or should have done differently. So rather than a dislike of writing or anything, I'm just going to say one thing that was tough, and we talked about it just before we started here, just the names, coming from a different culture, keeping track of the different people throughout the story was difficult.
Who is who?
Yeah, just who is who. As usual, we did the audio, and the reader read through the names naturally and did a great job with that, but it was still hard to track. So that's more of just to be aware of that. If you decide to pick this one up, just pay attention to those names and do your best, but that might be tough.
I feel like when you're dealing with names that are not native to your own language, it's easier to catch on to them if you read it, not listen to it, because they kind of all start to sound the same. Her name is Yeonmi, and her sister's name is Eunmi. And if you were looking at them, reading them, they actually are spelt like completely different. They don't even look close to the same thing, but audio-wise, they sound the same. I felt the same way with the book Nothing to Envy, which we also both highly recommend, about North Korea. And that is a journalist who follows 5 different storylines. Those, I could not tell you a character, a person name from that entire book. I could not differentiate who was who. I had, by the name, I had to get into it and hear the story of it. And so I think the audio does a disservice with that aspect.
But that's more of a note. That's not like a dislike. That's a heads up, just so you're aware. So having said that, what would you do? What did you do with the stars on this one, if you were to rate it?
I gave it 5 stars. I give 5-star reads, 5-star rating to reads that I feel like that stay with me, that make me think, that make me contemplate, that make me dig deeper into my own value system and how I approach the world. And this book made me think about all of those things, and it stayed with me. We actually read this book at a suggestion from our daughter-in-law for a family reunion that we were doing, and we had a great discussion with our sons and their wives.
Yes, we do book clubs at our family reunions. We're just those people.
We're just those people. We are. And I thought it was great. We were all sitting around eating dinner, and we were discussing the book, and we were talking about different government systems and her trials and the moral, oh gosh, what's the term?
Gray area?
Yes, the moral gray area of the decisions that she had to make in order to survive, in order to make it to where she wanted to be. And she had, I mean, I would say choose the wrong path. She had to choose a lesser of 2 evils over and over and over again in order to finally make her way to freedom. And you never want to be in that position. You never want to be in that position. But she
didn't want to be in that position
either. No, she didn't. And so she chose the lesser of 2 evils over and over and over again and finally found her way. Spoiler, she finds her way out.
Would have been hard to read the book if she ended up dead. I tried to avoid spoilers since it was a family book club and kept trying to convince my sons that she didn't make it.
Yeah.
Turns out she has, since writing this book, become a public figure and a public speaker and has YouTube videos, which you're welcome to go find.
Yes.
And so my laying false trails didn't work.
No.
My rating, I give this a reluctant 5 stars. I give it 5 stars for all the same reasons Heather did. But I don't like giving 5 stars for that. I prefer to give 5 stars because I had a great time. And this is not, as we've said, this is not a warm, fuzzy, have a great time kind of book. But it is important. It is thought-provoking. All those things. It is worth your time.
Yeah.
It is a valuable read. but would have been nice to, stay inside and play board games instead, and just pretend like the world is not does not have that level of evil in it. What's our next review probably going to be?
Isles of the Emberdark.
Isles of the Emberdark.
Brandon Sanderson.
Okay.
Coming
back
through,
to our roots.
Us. Yes. Does
back
he deliver?
We will see.
We'll find out.
Dun dun dun. Well, we'll see you for Isles of the Emberdark.
Happy reading, everybody.